Welcome to another episode of the Top Corner Podcast. And today is Monday, like we always do.
Like we always do.
Yes, sir. How you doing, William?
Doing all right. Had a fun weekend. Had a productive weekend.
I guess so.
And what? A lot of interesting news and rumors going around.
Oh, yeah.
You want to kick off some news, or what do you got? You got anything that you want to lead the show with?
Let's talk about Joselu. But,
Yeah.
it's not a big deal, I guess. But guess what? Joselu leaves Madrid and he's set to join Qatari side Al Gharafa.
Yeah. It makes sense.
The decision was made, deal at final stages with it's ongoing. I mean, you will expect that. I know he had a fantastic season, but he was on a loan. I think the season kind of helped to prop up his stocks up for his parent club to actually make a lot more money on them.
Mm-hmm. And you have to think as well that really his performance last season, that's what got him the Saudi Arabia deal.
Yeah.
Because before then, no disrespect, but doing what he did for Real Madrid on that stage got him a lot more popularity.
Mm-hmm.
And really the Saudis want to go after guys that they think are going to get views.
Yeah.
So getting someone that's that high profile now, maybe that opportunity wouldn't have been there 2 years ago, 3 years ago. Because how old is he again? He's like 30.
33.
34, 33?
34.
Yeah.
I heard someone was saying he just seen Mbappe, Rodrigo, and Enrique on the team sheet. He was like, yeah, that would do it. I'm out of here.
Yeah. I mean, it makes a lot of sense.
But anyways, I'm him. I would still be out of there.
Yeah.
And he wasn't he was just on loan too. So no one should feel like, oh, yeah. Mm-mm.
And he's going to Saudi Arabia where he'll make more money there than he would anywhere else by quite a bit. So
yeah,
good for him, man. Get out while you can. It was a great time for him to get out.
Definitely.
One really, really good season. Speaking of Real Madrid, it does look like Madrid are aiming to lock down Xabi Alonso in 2025 once Carlo Ancelotti is on his way out. What do you think about that?
I think it's not impossible because I feel like Xabi Alonso, especially when it's like working for a company or just growing up in a neighborhood or something that has an attachment to you.
Yeah.
I feel like it can be possible because in Madrid he played there. Either Madrid or Liverpool can get him. It's not a guarantee, but at least they have the probability for them to get him is higher than other clubs.
Yeah. And those are your two best prospects as well. He really kind of has his pick of what he wants to do. He's in,
and it's good because, man, guess what? He has another season where he gets to coach. Leverkusen, which he brought them at the highest stage. He gets to have that experience again before leaving that team to go to a bigger team. The good thing is he's going to a team that if it ever happens, it's a young team and he's inheriting Ancelotti's piece of work. The talent is abundant. You just got to make the right play right now.
Yeah, it is set up perfectly for him to kind of come in and have a great roster to choose from.
Xabi Alonso coaching that team.
And I guess really fast, that's a really good question. If you're Xabi Alonso and you come into Real Madrid next season, who do you need to replace? You're looking at the roster, who do you need to add?
If that team performs very well, even if someone is injured, the team is so stacked that you can afford injuries from left back. You can not left back. You can afford injuries from midfielders or strikers. So I don't think from that there's a big replacement to be done.
Yeah.
But from your central back, yes.
I was gonna say that you could strengthen the defense a tiny bit, not because of anyone that's not good enough, but just for some extra for
the age might be
in case of an injury. Yeah. I mean, you're looking at that team sheet as a young coach with a young squad, and you're just like, there's not really that much to add here, So that's a really good place for him to be in.
You just gotta make sure you win.
Yeah. And then while we're on this sort of Real Madrid thing, Joshua Kimmich looks like so there are 4 clubs that seem really interested in him, including Real Madrid. So Real Madrid, Manchester City, Liverpool, and Arsenal all seem like they're interested in him. He's 29. He hasn't had a great performance under Thomas Tuchel. However, before the arrival of Thomas Tuchel, it's pretty undeniable that Kimmich was in great form as a midfielder.
Yeah.
But I agree. It doesn't make sense for him to go to Madrid.
But he said, I'm not sure if he said that, but he will consider signing for or in 2025 for just 5 teams. The 5 teams that he is interested in. I'm not sure if he said that, but it's coming from his team in a sense.
Yeah.
And that will be Barcelona, Madrid, City, Liverpool, and Arsenal. Those are the 5 teams that he will consider.
You know, the only reason that it wouldn't, that I think that Arsenal wouldn't want to sign him would be you're not too far off from having to replace him again like you're needing to do with Jorginho and Thomas Partey. It's just like he is younger, and I do think that he has the capacity to be a better midfielder than both of those guys. But you're kind of digging yourself into a hole where you're replacing older guys with someone that's not as old, but is certainly not young enough that you want to lock down for a long-term deal. He's not a long-term fix for that midfield that does need one extra person that is a little bit younger, that you can nail down to a 4-year deal and really hold things down. I could see. It looks like Bernardo Silva is interested in leaving City pretty soon. Maybe Kimmich does come in to replace him for that. They're very different roles, but you have to also accept that Kovacic has not really done exactly what he was supposed to do either. So maybe Kimmich is not replacing Silva, but he's replacing Kovacic. And you have to accept the fact that Kevin De Bruyne is probably going to be getting less minutes continually until the end of his career with City.
Honestly, I thought Kimmich would have been one of those guys at his age. Well, especially when he shot in the scene as a youth or a young midfielder, I thought he would have been one of the either Toni Kroos, Modric kind of guy.
I think he was close. I think the last 2 seasons with Thomas Tuchel at Bayern Munich really got in the way because he is very good.
Yeah. No, of course. That might be the case too. Yeah. Maybe if he had been in a better club that will showcase more of what he will be able to bring to the table, or he can bring to the table, it would have been different.
Yeah, well, because it wasn't even just him either at Bayern Munich.
Yeah, that's true.
2 years ago, I mean, he and Leon Goretzka were both playing very, very well.
Yeah.
And as soon as Thomas Tuchel arrives, I guess maybe tactically, what those two guys provide is not exactly what he needs. But even so it wasn't just him that had that drop in form with whatever Thomas Tuchel was trying to set up. I mean, I think that he will have his choice for the most part. I can see Barcelona being risky because the whole squad's kind of risky at the moment.
Yes.
And speaking of, I mean, another one, Frankie de Jong was supposed to be one as well. That had things gone differently, had he gone to a different club, maybe he would be at that top level right now. City makes sense to me. I don't think Liverpool makes a lot of sense to me. I think that they're kind of okay with Szoboszlai and McAllister. Maybe you want to replace an aging Wataru Endo.
Yeah, I feel like for Liverpool, they might be looking more into replacing either or tweaking the center backs or the not the center backs, but like the backs in themselves, and also probably the attack. But I don't feel like I don't know what was the new coach plan, but I don't feel like he's gonna come in and just start doing a bunch of stuff.
Yeah. The midfield seems pretty okay, even though they kind of have a thing like Arsenal where the third man in the midfield is kind of always in rotation.
Yeah.
Not in a way of it being, too risky or, the dip in quality being too severe. But, you have Szoboszlai and you have McAllister that are there week in, week out. Those are your starters. That's like Rice and Odegaard. But you do have someone in the middle that's kind of always in and around, rotation. Whereas I think that Kimmich could fill that middle for them and let the other guys be a little bit more athletic around him. But I think that City makes a lot of sense as well.
Yeah.
Like I said. What else we got here? So it does look like Napoli is interested in letting Victor Osimhen go.
Ooh.
They're willing to take $100 million for him when his release clause is 140. Wow. So they're willing to somewhat operate at a loss there. I don't know if it's on his lack of desire to be there now, but why would you want that when Antonio Conte is going to pick your squad up from where it was last season? Like, you might not win the league again, but it seems like everyone wants to kind of jump ship now that Napoli really underperformed this past season. But you got to think that Conte has some pretty quick fixes, right?
Yeah, but I feel like for him it's because he might want to. He feels like if he was somewhere else, I don't know, probably change of environment. Like, he's been in the news for a long time now.
Yeah.
About him leaving because he performed very well. These headphones are killing me. But but I feel like Especially like you had a lot of rumors of him going this there, potentially the Premier League. I feel like that's a move that he's willing to do himself.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Man, I
So,
believe if I was
so what do
him.
you think about because you're a bit more attached to this because you're more familiar with the national squads and how they perform with each other. What is this whole thing? Because I don't watch a lot of Nigerian
Yeah.
matches, obviously. I actually don't have access to it but I mean, because you get all the underground sites, you can kind of grab anything you want. Nigerian fans think that he doesn't have the best work ethic nationally, like for the national squad, and they think that because of his performance at Napoli, that it gives a misrepresentation of the kind of player that he is. Have you heard anything about this at all? Because I've seen it with very small groups of people that have sort of voiced their opinion of like, you guys don't watch enough Victor Osimhen to know that he might not be worth exactly what's going on here. Like,
Yeah.
you don't see him tripping over himself. You don't see him making dumb runs. You don't see him making bad decisions just because you watch highlights of Napoli. Is there
Yeah.
any, is there any validity to this?
I feel in the club. I mean, in the club is different from the national team, right?
Absolutely.
A lot of people perform well in the club, but sometimes in the national team that is not reciprocated. So Osimhen hasn't been like the guy in the national team.
Yeah.
They understand that, and they know that. That's probably why there's a lot of drama recently about that too. So it's not like it's Osimhen. Of course, they see him playing.
Yeah.
This is a player. They watch him, but he's not the same in a national team. So he's more like a liability. So why would you want that if you could have someone that will come in and play with heart? Because some of these players, when they get big and they got money,
it all goes away.
they don't. A lot of them, when they come play for the club, the national team, they don't play with heart in a sense.
Yeah.
But I don't know if it's fear of probably if I'm getting injured, I won't get the big bucks or what.
Yeah.
But it's different from for other national teams, like a Brazilian, or like a Spanish or a German player.
Portuguese.
But they will play with heart and soul. You know?
Yeah.
So that's how they feel too. Because they know he has that in him. He has the potential to blow them up.
Yeah, we've got the Croatia-Italy game on his phone right now, so that it can be on the background. So deal with the vibrations today, boys. No, so yeah, I think it's just the fact that some Nigerian supporters are kind of just looking at the big deal that's potentially in Osimhen's future and just going, you know.
Yeah, but so far
you might not be getting exactly what you think you're getting at
if
times.
you didn't watch the news recently, he had a lot of drama. I wouldn't get into the drama. We probably can get into the drama at some point, but not today. But he had some things going on. He hasn't been banned from the national team. He's going to be playing, and some fans are actually in support of him not getting banned, and they're happy that the issue. Yeah.
I'm not familiar with this actually.
Has been. Yeah, we'll dive into it another time.
Okay.
But yes,
you said to avoid Manchester United news because we're gonna have another guy on.
The Manchester guy.
Although the Manchester guy, there is a small transfer rumor, which does make sense for them, and that would actually be a very good one for them.
Yeah.
But if we're avoiding that, then
let's go. If not,
fuck him.
Go ahead.
Erik ten Hag does seem interested in Adrien Rabiot to sort of help revamp the midfield.
I heard about that.
It's not a bad idea at all because
Rabiot's a good player.
He is a very good player. I think in a very, very, very strong French squad, he's obviously one of the weaker links. If you even want to use that term for to describe him, which I wouldn't, but some people do. Liverpool seem interested in swiping from United.
Yeah,
and picking up Rabiot as well. That also makes a little bit of sense. So it looks like Kimmich or Rabiot in that midfield
will do it
to let McAllister and Szoboszlai kind of roam. But no, if Ten Hag is going to replace a Amrabat, which isn't working, or really Christian Eriksen, Rabiot is not the fastest guy in the world, but he's good on the ball. He's got a good first touch. He doesn't make any dumb decisions really in the midfield to turn the ball over.
That's true.
He seems like a good guy to sort of sit in the middle and dictate pace and not do anything
especially for his
risky.
Quick fixes.
Yep, exactly.
I feel like Rabiot might bring some of that. because he's a little bit more cautious. He might not have a lot of attributes in the sense of probably a course, a Camavinga, whatnot, but he knows timing is usually good with him, and decision making is really good with him. So
yeah, he's not a an insanely elegant player. He's not a hyper creative player or like a long threaded ball kind of player. Very much that shorter kind of choppy, but is able to really slow things down or feed you the ball when you need it. I think what you said is best. Quick fix.
Yeah.
Who's someone that we can grab right now that's not unbelievably expensive?
Yeah, then we can start. Yeah, why that's being fixed, we can start rebuilding or with thinking about the whole midfield situation.
Absolutely.
So go ahead.
No, that was it. I agree with you.
If did you hear about any Kane? It's a little bit of not really drama in a sense, a lot of players criticizing the England national team, like a lot of, because most of the players that were in the ex-players are now pundits or commentators or part of English media in a sense, or entertainment. And Kane had to answer to a journalist saying that some players, I don't know if the journalist specifically said something, but I think it was directed towards Lineker or the pundits in a sense, and asking him about how poor the team. Telling him that some pundit have been thinking that they're not playing well, the team has been poor, and whatnot. And he was saying that, well, they have been in this position and we haven't won anything, so they should know best that.
Ooh, yeah.
That it's not like he doesn't know, but they should also think about they're trying to do the best for the national team. They have been in this situation before, so. What do you think about that?
That's a funny way to say it. And
I think he was a little cautious, but at the same time, just giving them a little.
Yeah. Like, remember, you guys haven't won anything either, so we need to, you guys should know better than anybody. I mean, here's the thing about England lately. And it's always very interesting to see how expectant English supporters are.
Yeah.
Because they haven't been playing great.
No.
I would not say that they're playing poorly, though.
Yeah, they're not playing poorly. They're just not playing at the caliber we expect them to play because of
But why should
talent.
we expect them to play that way if they don't have a track record of winning?
That's another thing, too.
Exactly.
That's my problem with English media. It's not the expectations.
Yeah.
My problem is the arrogance.
Yeah.
And also the overhype.
Yes.
That they either do to their own national squad or the whole English shebang. But they don't understand that. I guess they not, because for me, like I said, I've never been, England's gonna be a favorite. No, I don't care. Never.
No.
Never.
No, I mean, like, they are truly, like, English national fans are the PSG of national supporters.
Yeah.
Like, you haven't won this thing. I don't know why you think you're entitled to be there.
The 60s or something.
Yeah.
So you don't qualify.
But every single tournament, they think that they are the favorites to win, and it's like, I think that temper your expectations slightly. I think that for years now, though, they've been expected to be in the semifinal situation.
Yeah.
And that's still a massive honor for the World Cup and for the Euros, which are the two most prestigious national tournaments in the world. It's like, you're not a failure, I think, at least, by being considered one of the top four in those respective competitions.
Yeah.
But come on, guys. Like, you need to realistically examine yourselves. And, like, that's the thing. They're not playing horribly.
Yeah.
But you're saying that they are because you think that they need to be the best squad in the world, and they're just not. Their individual talent might be in the running for, like, a best squad.
Yeah.
That does not mean that your playing is going to get you there.
So, guess what? Before we completely pivot, I was going to ask, do you have any more news, and we can just speak about the national team and fixes that it could do for their next game? Because I feel like they have the players, and if you've been watching the news in sense, especially if you're in America, it means the assumption you watch a lot more British news, especially if you are in this community or supporting.
Yeah.
there's a lot that's going on with the national team, thinking Southgate is not doing either enough or not playing well.
Yeah, I think that I think we had this conversation last week as well. You do have an abundance of individual talent, and everyone's trying to make you say someone like Foden or Bellingham, one of them has to go. And I do think that there's a formation somewhere in there where they can both get along well in the space. But you and I both agreed the left wing is not where Foden needs to be. He needs to be a bit more centralized behind the number 9.
Yeah.
And we're sitting there having this whole conversation of, Bellingham or Foden, someone has to go. And I'm sitting there going, no, Alexander-Arnold needs to go. That frees up space. And I'm not saying that you just plug in Bellingham where Arnold was, but readjust the formation. And I think that Foden more centralized and Anthony Gordon on the left wing.
Yeah.
Because Anthony Gordon is probably your best left winger that you have available. And also, you don't bench Kane for Cole Palmer, but we need to remember how well Cole Palmer performed last season.
I feel like if there's not a benching in a sense, but we can bring out Cole Palmer when Kane has no answers. It's not a crime to try to get answers on the field at all costs, even when something is not working.
Especially when you can identify that maybe the issue that Kane is having might, in that moment, not always.
Because not cutting you, because when you see, there are no runs from the back. There's no space created, or there's no trying to surprise the back line of the opponent with creating runs that could potentially free up space for like a throw ball or something. He's not doing that at the moment.
Yeah. No, I mean, like you said, if you can identify the problem and Kane needs to if the issue is that he can't get behind the line because he doesn't have the pace right now. If maybe you're playing against a Dutch squad that has Nathan Ake and Virgil van Dijk, it's like, I bet Kane has trouble getting in back there with pace.
Yeah.
He's not the fastest guy in the world. He never has been. But if the issue is not only pace, then maybe Kane stays in and you work something out tactically. But if it's obviously identifiable that we just need someone up front with a little bit more speed right now, bring in Cole Palmer. There's nothing wrong with that.
There's about, is it Cesc Fabregas? He used to play for
Chelsea.
But he used to play for national team Spain. And I think this weekend he was on one of the talk shows, and he was saying that everybody kept thinking about out of position. He doesn't believe in that crap. And the reason is because he said when Spain won the World Cup in 2010, most of them were playing out of position. He was playing as a striker, and he's not a striker.
Yeah.
Iniesta was playing as a left wing. Iniesta was in the left wing.
Yeah.
And I forgot who was playing there. He said about that he doesn't think that it's the out of position, but more of the system and the player themselves trying to make themselves seen. Then when he said that, I feel I started thinking about it. Foden can do that if he plays with more grit, because he has that in him. He could create, and he has that flair. If he plays more aggressively, like if he wants it, he wants the ball, you look for it, you chase it down. I think what he said could be a thing that the coach has to think about for the next game, trying to motivate the players and just quick fixing. I don't know how he's gonna do that, because another thing is, I think especially the striker, or even the whole squad, and say when he said, he doesn't have a natural replacement for Calvin Phillips, you have Kobbie Mainoo. Just let the kid play.
Like you always have like an apprehension for letting someone that's that young take that much responsibility, but he's not. It's not like he's coming from second division in Germany. Like he played in the Premier League well.
Yeah,
even in a squad that was not playing well, he played well.
Just remove Alexander and play Kobbie Mainoo then.
I agree.
So we can get something. Not saying that I understand why he's trying to make Alexander play there, because Walker is obviously occupying space there.
Yeah.
But he's thinking about having those long balls.
Yeah.
But Mainoo can do that too. I've seen him do that.
Do you also think that because of the media surrounding the English squad, the English national team in general, do you think that Southgate's ever swayed to play those guys simply because of their name And he's worried about what someone says. Like,
I think
he's worried about not having Arnold in the team because if they lose or they don't play well,
then it's
everyone's just going to say that. They're like, that is the only issue. So he's like, no, I've got to play these guys so that if they don't play well, no one can blame me for them not being out there. And that's not a good reason.
A reminder too, Southgate, as bad, the reason why people see he's bad in a sense is because he has a lot of young talent throughout the whole his coaching career in the English national team. But we also have to remember he's the only, in this era at least, most successful manager. Yeah, for the English squad.
I know. No, I know. Yeah, and most English supporters don't love him either.
Which I don't understand. But I do get it too. I feel like what you said is right. It's either he does it and it doesn't work. Yeah. Because like I heard, I forgot who was saying that if it doesn't work, you can take out Kane. But now you're risking Kane is the captain.
Yeah.
And he's also playing well this year. He played very well. So it's like
he can score goals. Lately, like, he has scored a lot of goals.
If you do that, it has to work.
Yeah.
Because if it doesn't work, now everybody's gonna crucify you.
Yeah. He's having to appease from afar, and that's the thing as well. Like, not all managers suffer from that, but a lot do. Of just like, and because you don't want to speak ill of the fans, and you don't want to like push down what the fans mean to a club or to a nation. But at the end of the day, English fans in general, they're faceless supporters. Yeah. Like, the manager does not need to listen
to the fans.
You don't have to. Once you start doing that, once you start making decisions based on people that don't make decisions, just by their preference, by their understanding of the game, you're entering it into a dangerous space because you're giving them a lot more vocalization and say than they deserve. I mean, at the end of the day, like, you're a fan, you're a supporter. You don't, like, that does not mean that you know what it takes to run this whole thing. And whether I, Southgate, am the most qualified or not remains to be seen. Could someone replace me and do better? Probably. Is it anyone in the fans that are criticizing me? No. Sure. That's not them. Yeah. So you need to not be playing people in ways that they're not comfortable. And I agree with what you're saying about, like, it's not about people playing out of position. It's about, like, losing that grit or that. Yeah. But I think that some players, especially now, lose that grit when they lose the confidence because they're playing in a different position. And that's unfortunate. Like, you're right. If Foden is just a little bit more aggressive on the ball, he's still very lethal in that space. The issue is that I feel like he loses subconsciously. What that extra bit that gets him there.
Because I think that Foden can do it very well, though. Even playing there, I feel like if he just puts in his mind that, okay, I'm not playing at a 10 now, but I'm still playing a position where I can impact the game as a 10. Like, just the same thing. The only difference, you're coming from the wing. That's it. And you have Bellingham that can support. I feel like, he just got to get in him. It's just about confidence and wanting more. Yeah. It's like, play with that Brazilian confidence when you're on the ball. And he's the only player in that squad that, for me at least, that has that flair, that finesse in terms of, like, touching technically, that could really make those little especially at the front, and that's where you guys need it. So
I mean, they're like, you've got to get him on the same page. But you don't have to sacrifice Foden or Bellingham for each other.
No, I think
there's a way to get them both in there together.
And if you haven't watched the Euro, you gotta watch it, bro. Like, Scotland is out.
Scotland's out.
And you know what? Scotland haven't been successful at any major international tournament since 1991. And in fact, 121 countries have, a little fact for you guys, have won games in international competition than Scotland have won any.
Jeez.
Since 1991.
Wow. Yeah, I mean,
they just go there to give points out.
Yep. It's a formality. They're just,
let's just show up, sign some papers.
Yep. Maybe get off the bus. We don't know.
Yeah.
And I mean, so Group A is wrapped up.
Yeah.
Germany look very solid. You said it first. And I hadn't been looking into it as strongly as you were, or as I am now. Germany kind of crept up. They're always expected to be a good side, but the last couple of years hasn't been the best version of Germany. But they look very impressive.
No.
You were the one that said watch out for Germany, and now they're one of the big favorites here.
The whole reason is because they play very well. The only person that I saw them struggling against is Switzerland. And when people say, oh, because the expectation is the same for Germany, right? Because you have all these players that we all know, we've seen them perform at the highest stage in their individual clubs, and everyone is like wondering, well, if you are Germany and you're playing any clubs that we think that because the caliber and the firepower is in that team, you should destroy anyone on you. Well, guess what? It's not always because they are too good. You also have to think about it, because Switzerland hold them to a nil. I mean, Switzerland is good too. Switzerland was playing.
Now, when I say that Switzerland are underrated, what I mean is that because you can be underrated and still not be a favorite to win.
Yes.
But I mean, in these national competitions, Switzerland are always a favorite to get out of their group.
Especially the last few competitions, actually.
If you are in one of these competitions, either in the Euros or the World Cup, if you are expected to get out of your group, that means that you're a very, very, very good side. You might not be France, Germany, Spain level in terms of the quality in the squad, but if you're expected to do that, lately they've been expected to do that more than Italy. And even though Italy won the last Euros, they weren't that great before. And they haven't been that great since. So
I think this Euros is actually, for me, I think in the last, or probably in this last 14, 15 years, I think this Euro is the most competitive in terms of just squad to squad on paper.
Things are evening up.
Yeah, because Germany have a fantastic squad. So does Spain, because they're all young, they all play at a good level, and they're all at least viewed to be in the next 5-10 years legends.
Well, and those two sides right now are the ones that are playing most like teams.
Yeah, same thing with England. Same thing with France.
Yeah.
Same thing with Netherlands. I wasn't even looking at Netherlands closely, but when I watched them play this weekend, I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
They are there. This team is young too.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, in terms of just talent wise, this Euro is pretty competitive.
Oh yeah. I mean, the Netherlands and France matchup was great because France, even though they, again, great. It's like
Portugal too.
The squad. Yeah, the squads with the best individual players are not playing most like a team. And that's not to say that Germany and Spain and Netherlands don't have great players.
Yeah.
But they're taking that level of talent and really multiplying it.
Yeah.
Because of the tactics that they're implementing, they look very solid together. France, again, like England, they don't look bad. They don't look poor in their performances. But they still feel like individual players trying to make things happen as opposed to feeling more like a unit.
Yes, I will go with that. But
poor Poland. Sorry,
Slovakia is out. No, Scotland is out, and we gotta watch out for this is wrapping up for the last round before we get into the knockout stages. So
at this point, ending the first half, Spain is up 1-0 against Albania. And Croatia and Italy have held each other to 0-0 at the moment.
Yeah. Just a wild pivot to Copa America that has started.
Yep.
The U.S. won, and that's expected. And I said this, the U.S. have since I followed the U.S. national team, the men national team, this is one of the best talented squad, and they should make use of it, because sometimes a golden generation comes and it passes without them doing anything, like the Belgian generation of 2014, 15, 16, having all this player did nothing, absolutely nothing.
It was tragic when they didn't really show up for the 2018. I mean, they went far, but man, you really wanted to see them get to where, at least to the final for France, and
yes, definitely. So go watch the Copa America. And Argentina is doing fine. The US is doing fine, and this is the team that I want. If the US, they should be at least out of this with 9 points. That's how I see it.
Wow, really?
Yeah, I think they have the potential to take on Uruguay, and I will watch that game. I think so deeply.
I think that they have the ability to win it. I can see them getting out with 7 points, though. I can see them taking
at least
a draw with Uruguay. But
who is playing Uruguay? I mean, there's some great. Nunes also have finally I think he's getting his mojo back because he's scoring. So that's a problem.
Fede Valverde is in the midfield. I can see him really causing a lot of trouble. So
Araujo, Oliveira, Vina, they have a great team. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying that if tactics are right, the US should also be able to, in fact, be considered or in the discussion of, can you win it?
Yeah. And I mean, and the only reason that I look at Panama suspiciously is because, I mean, they're in the same CONCACAF region, and it would not be the first time if Panama takes 3 points away from the United States after playing pretty well.
Yeah.
United States had the better squad. They had the better history in terms of victory over Panama. But at the end of the day, I mean, I've seen it in the last couple of years. It's easy to, not easy, it's not uncommon to see the U.S. kind of drop 3 points when they really deserved them throughout the game to a side like Panama that just seemed to be able to do it.
Yeah,
but I agree with you.
I get that.
They should get out of the group, though.
They should, definitely.
Today's matchups are Brazil and Costa Rica, which is interesting, and Colombia and Paraguay.
I will really, I will really want to watch that.
And then it looks like our big when is the U.S.-Uruguay match? Because, I'm with you on that one. That's absolutely a must watch.
That's what I'm saying. At least you draw or something, but I expect them to go far. The teams that I expect them to struggle around, it's either a Canada or Brazil or
Argentina.
Peru usually have this fast, quick way of playing football because they always, Argentina always struggle against Peru. But I want to see what they can do. The
Uruguay-U.S. matchup is on July 1st at 8 p.m.
Ooh.
So I'll be watching that.
That's a good game.
What day of the week is that, actually? Hold on, let me check really fast.
Brazil, Colombia looks like a good game, too.
It's on a Sunday. It's a Sunday. Ooh, I might go to my grandparents because my grandpa might want to watch that game live.
Yeah,
we'll do that.
Yeah, that's a good game to watch with friends, family, or whatnot.
Well, good stuff, man. What else you got? You got anything else?
Not at the moment, but let's remind everyone we got a football series coming out for Football 101, just to kind of get you in that stage, that mode, right? Because before the season kicks in, we want you to understand how, because a lot of people have confusion, especially if you're not acquainted with that side of the world or that side of the sport. You might not know, because I watch some people sometimes like, man, wait a minute. Because some people just trying to get into soccer, right, or football. You pick a team because either you've been exposed to Premier League, you pick either. I know some people are, because like I was watching a reactor, he picked Barcelona, and he was like, wait a minute, why are they playing United? They play Madrid again. So there's confusion because if you're coming from the US, you think the sport just like the NBA or the NFL is one league. But there's no one league in a sense, and that's the beauty of it. I think the way to make a living, the opportunities are, especially if you get to that space where you're a footballer as a profession, you might not be the top guy, but there's ways for you to play for a club and still make money. Because if you think about the NFL and basketball, in a sense, these are the best of the best out of college. Right? But the best of the best out of youth teams or neighborhoods playing might get to the top, but it doesn't mean you, the average guy, cannot get to play the sport.
The biggest thing that people have issue with, it's not so much the different clubs. Like they understand that every nation has their own league. They really start to lose track of the fact that you can play multiple competitions at once. Because you understand as Americans, the NBA, but then there's also the Italian league. There's the Chinese league, but the idea of those teams crossing over and playing each other, that doesn't happen in any American sport at all. That's the big thing that we really want to kind of drive home the rules. Because here's something as well, if you're watching a football podcast, you've got to assume that you're a very big fan. All ages, it's not just children that are getting into soccer for the first time, football for the first time. You got to accept the fact every single season is somebody's first season watching. No matter the age, people from all over. They need to know these kinds of things.
Some people can watch 2-3 seasons without knowing everything. especially going up with soccer and football is it's easier for me. It doesn't mean I know all the rules, because even players on the stadium don't know all the rules.
Well, because a lot of it's interpretation as well, which is the most frustrating thing for a lot of American fans.
Yeah. I can guarantee NFL, I probably know what 30% of the rules. I'm just saying that there's always adds or addition that you could be oh wow, like offside. There's so many offside rules. There's the normal, the rule of thumb offside. You can have one up on any opponent player.
Yeah.
Right? That's everyone knows that. But now it gets confusing when either the goalkeeper is out and there's one defender from that same team behind the line. From, like this, and this explanation. There's also how you win the league, how you win the league, the cup. People don't understand that it's per points. Right? So there's a lot of things that we're just gonna try to bring to light, so next time you watch a game you're like, I get it.
Yeah. And then sort of seeing, like, once you choose your club, you understand how many competitions that club's actually in, how they qualify for each one of those, how their performance this year can impact potentially their placement or lack thereof for the following season. All those things. Again, it takes years to even understand what is the FA Cup. Because you're like, okay, English clubs, Premier League, I get it. Champions League, different clubs get thrown into a pot. I get it. They're like, okay, but what is a domestic cup? Like, like they don't understand. It's just like, no, that's just the full scope of that nation's development system, that whole pyramid system being put together. So little things like that they need to understand the difference.
And we got great debates coming out too after the major competitions are over. I think it's gonna run for like 4 weeks, 3 weeks.
Yeah, we have about 4 weeks where there's no live matchups. So yeah, we'll put together like our top Premier League side, like starting 11 from this past season. We'll do things like best Premier League center backs of all time, best Serie A strikers, best La Liga midfielders of all time.
Games. What games do you like? What got it's a lot coming up, but we got you guys good, bro.
We got you. Yeah. Give us a pat on the back.
Oh yeah.
Hit us with that. Hit him.
Let me hit us.
Hit him. Good shit.
And guess what? We know that.
Jesus.
We know that.
Well, all right, guys.
Let's wrap this up. See y'all next week. But don't forget to watch any games.
Bye.